All right, and good day, everyone. My name is Joshua Weisel. We are here in the Weather 225 Storm Studios with our eye on the sky for the potential for maybe a couple of storms later this evening and tonight. But before we get into this forecast segment, I just want to let you know this is going to be a little bit different from our typical segments during the afternoon into the evening. We're going to focus a little bit more on that risk for a couple strong to severe storms. It's not because we're overly worried about this risk, right? It's overall a low risk across the area, but I know that when severe weather is in the forecast or it's in the headlines, even though it may not be the highest risk that we've ever seen, it's certainly on the minds of all of the viewers in the area. So we want to help relieve that anxiety, give you the no-nonsense information, and walk you through the potential that we have for today so you know what to expect. Here's a look at what we've got for today. Now notice it's not really quite showing it on this one, but we'll show you what the individual risks. It does include the Fayetteville area. It does include Tulsa, Stillwater areas to the north into Joplin, Branson, Miami, those locations across southwest Missouri, northwest Arkansas, and into northeast Oklahoma. We've got the opportunity for some strong to severe storms. Now, it's one of those, evenings and late nights where not everyone's going to see storms. There's a pretty good opportunity that some areas see some scattered showers and thunderstorms across the area later this evening and tonight. But that doesn't mean that every single one of our viewers is going to see storms. And certainly not every one of our viewers is going to see severe weather. The main risks are primarily going to be with, storms later in the day into tonight. And those could pose a risk for some large hail, maybe some damaging winds. I think the overall greatest timing is going to be closer to that 6 o'clock and after timeline through at least maybe 3 in the morning. It's a broad timeline, but keep in mind our coverage area is so large that, it's pretty broad for the entirety of the area. And like I said, mostly a risk for damaging winds and large hail. There's also going to be a very, very low risk for a spin-up tornado. It's not the highest risk, and it's not going to be the main concern, but, kind of just to be safe, we're going to let you know it's very, very low, but it's not quite at zero. So just be aware of that potential as well. So not everyone's going to see storms. Main risks, mostly large hail, damaging winds. We'll walk you through that with the wind risk here first. It does include areas mostly along and north of I-40. Even though it's not quite at I-40, I'm saying along and north of I-40 should be aware because there could be some storms just south of there. Mother Nature doesn't look at our boundaries, our algorithms and the Storm Prediction Center and go, okay, we're going to keep it just here, not south. And every now and then, storms could be just outside of that. So it's not a guarantee that that's going to happen, but keep in mind, forecasts, the boundaries, that's where the more favorable environment is located for, coverage and everything along the lines there. But there could still be a couple storms to the south. Just be mindful of that. But overall, the wind risk is low, and so is the hail potential. Now, there's no highlighted risk for tornadoes, so we're not going to be able to show you that. But some of the algorithms kind of just hinting that there could be some slightly favorable ingredients, but not super favorable, right? So it's not quite zero, but it's incredibly low. The hail risk, there is going to be the potential. Notice in this area that you see near Stillwater, Tulsa, and even up to Barnsdall, that other line, you might be asking, well, what is that? Well, we call that a significant hatched area. So that means there could be some larger hail. So the entirety of the coverage area, I think, most likely hail anywhere from $0.50 to just slightly above $0.50 will be possible. It's not the largest hail risk that we've ever seen, but it could still create some damage. So just be aware of that later tonight. You may want to bring the car into the garage for the overnight potential. But areas that are in that hatched area could see the potential for hail maybe up to 2 inches in diameter. That's roughly around the size of an egg, or a hen egg. So make sure that you're just aware of that. That includes Barnsdall, Tulsa Metro, and even areas off to the west near Stillwater. So just be mindful of that later tonight. Future scan, I just want you to take a look at what it has to offer with its output, but don't take it fully literally, right? It's a tool to show us what we could expect, but it hasn't handled the isolated scattered activity very well, and it's continuing to not handle this system very well either. So it's showing that we have rain both today and tomorrow. Now, I do agree that we're going to see a little bit more activity in the far northern portions of our coverage areas, northeast Oklahoma, northwest Arkansas, southwest Missouri, because that system that we've been letting you know about, it's slowly making its way further to the south. It's going to stall out right over areas further to the north and west, and right along and ahead of that system is where we're going to see the rain opportunities. So it's not as great further to the south, but it's not meaning that it's just going to stay in southwest Missouri, nowhere else, right? We want to be fully transparent with you. I think the greatest coverage is mostly for I-40 and north with the activity tonight. But again, not everyone's going to see storms, and not everyone's going to see severe weather. So It's one of those things we'll just have to keep an eye on. We're going to go ahead and just leave it here with the future scan radar and all of that. We'll have a full look at your forecast here coming up if storms don't look to be, changing, or the forecast looks to be pretty set. So we'll let you know the latest on that. We're going to go work on the forecast before we get to this evening and tonight. We're getting our studio set up just in case any strong to severe storms were to occur. So we'll be ready for that. So if warnings are issued, we'll be here in the studio. You can find us streaming 24/7 on weather225.com and on YouTube. So be sure to find us there. Have a great rest of your day. We'll keep an eye on the sky.